Bonsoir, Tom.
Bonsoir.
Comment ça va?
Muy très bien. Très bien. I almost went into Spanish there.
Yeah, I can't speak French.
I can't really speak French either.
This is great, Tom. Who is this, by the way? By the way, folks, welcome to the show.
I think you should.
Welcome to the show, Random Interest Podcast.
Random Interest Podcast. I've got a point to this.
I'm Ron.
I'm Tom.
Great. All right, turn this fucking off. We got shit to talk about.
All right.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Oh, but yeah, by the way, that was cool. Who was that, by the way?
You need to say the name.
Why do I need to say the name? Beetlejuice?
I really just I don't want to mispronounce.
Oh, you don't want to? I think that was Joe Cocker. No, wait, no, it was Borelli Lagreen.
Thank you. All
right, folks, welcome to the show. We are talking about Gypsy jazz this evening.
Yes.
And I don't. So Tom, I don't know about you, but it took me a little bit of time as a musician to fall into the river of Gypsy jazz. Like I didn't hear, when I first started down my jazz journey or whatever you want to call it, I don't think that Gypsy jazz was on my radar.
No, I think when I was in high school was when I was doing a lot of jazz and hearing a lot of new jazz, and it really wasn't something that was prevalent.
It wasn't prevalent. I agree with you. So
and I think you can hear it now, and it with the wonders of
huge resurgence. Yes, huge resurgence. But I remember the first Gypsy jazz I heard was Django Reinhardt.
Yes, I obviously knew of Django Reinhardt. Everybody knew who he was.
But I kind of sometimes feel like in guitar circles, there's these things that are said, but people don't really fucking mean it. You're like, oh, Django Reinhardt. You're like, okay,
I do have a question about
one Django Reinhardt song.
I
didn't mean that you specifically. I meant in a general sense.
Django Dragon wasn't that one?
No, that's not a song. No, that's Imagine Dragons. Doesn't matter.
Imagine Dragons. I've got a question. In order to be
yes.
In order to play Django correctly, do you have to use just two fingers?
Well, I mean, have your fingers been burned in a fire?
I once burnt them on one of those.
Well, if they're not connected from a caravan fire, then I think it's safe to say that you can use four fingers to play Django.
All right. I'm just.
He went through a freakish accident.
I know it's horrible.
It's really horrible. This is not great material. But I think Django would love it because you know what? If one thing that guy had was a sense of humor, do you think people always out from cigarettes? He's like, but Django, the fingers. He's like, fuck you, give me the Camel Straights. I don't know why I did a Lebanese guy there. Yeah, that was not. I don't. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Welcome to Random Interest
Podcast. I do not know what Django Reinhardt sounds like, and I'm pretty goddamn sure he does not sound like Tony Shalhoub from Wings.
Probably not.
Which is, I think, what I just did. So, my apologies, the estate of Django Reinhardt. Random Interest Podcast.
Random Interest Podcast.
So, yeah. So, Gypsy Jazz, I love it. Is there a Gypsy Jazz guitar player that you've recently run into that you're really enjoying?
Yes. There's they're kind of a group, but it's called Marion and Sobo Band.
What an interesting name.
Yeah, and they're fantastic. Hold on, I can play a little bit of them for you.
Yeah, play some for the audience. Let's hear it. Gorgeous. You know, Tom, I don't know if you know this, but I think this is the French version of Wildfire.
Huh. Sounds exactly like it.
It does. It sounds, not at all, but in all seriousness, this is great. Who is this? Barry and Bobo?
Marion and Sobo.
Ah, that's great. That was a great song. That was
And
great.
they're really great. They do a lot of stuff, and there's a Django festival every year, I believe.
Of course there is. So,
But-
when I can't speak, I think I said this a little earlier in the show, but my musical journey with Gypsy Jazz was I've been listening to Django a lot, and I did the jazz guitar thing and all that stuff. We already all know Ron's hagiography, but it took me a lot of I felt like I had to work up to learning how to even approach Gypsy jazz guitar.
Right.
Like, I feel like I didn't start playing Gypsy jazz guitar until about 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I really, I knew of it before recently, but I've fallen in love with it recently.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to love.
Very recently.
There's a lot to love. But for me, what happened was the technique is so prohibitive that I actually like jacked my shoulder all up and had to go to like a physical therapist. Even though
I could see that happening.
Even though I'm
to me.
only doing, it looks like I'm doing If I Only Had a Heart from Wizard of Oz. If I only had a heart. But yeah.
Those aggressive downstrokes.
Yeah, well, I'm very into down. If I only had a heart. So Gypsy jazz guitars. I did not start seeing Gypsy jazz guitars in local music stores. I want to say until like the early to mid 2000s, but really probably like 2006, 2007 was when I saw any Gypsy jazz guitar at all.
I think the first Gypsy jazz guitar I ever saw was yours, and that was about 10 years ago.
That's right. You got it. So this is interesting. And I believe that we had the chance to talk to a Montreal luthier
Yes.
who is very much in love with Gypsy jazz guitars.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like, we had a great time. He's a very fun guest.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say
definitely
I wouldn't say he's a guest as so much as friends we've made along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so yeah, me and Tom, we love Gypsy jazz. Me more than him. And but no harm, no foul. And anyway, we stumbled upon Martin Tremblay's Instagram account where he's always refinishing these beautiful old mid-century 1950s, 60s, 70s Bussato guitars from France.
Right. And they're beautiful guitars. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're constructed differently and they look different than
There
your
were
regular acoustic guitar.
there were things I was very surprised about. Like when you asked the question, does it have a does it have a dovetail? He's like, no, it's a block cut. And he said, I forget exactly how he said it, but he said something like, you have no idea how strong the glue is.
Yeah.
Which seems like the worst type of end joint that you could ever have. But he said it was the end grain, and I did not know that about guitars.
Yeah, well,
I did not know that about Gypsy jazz guitars, right? So Martin was
neither did I. I wanted to know all of the weird
I think
details.
Martin was a fantastic guest. So
Yes, he was.
let's listen to the podcast. Let's listen to Martin Tremblay, and
Go to the video tape.
let's go listen to Martin. And I hope everyone enjoys it as much as we did. All right, everybody, welcome to the show.
Wow.
We're interviewing Canadian luthier Martin Tremblay from Montreal, who has been very graciously agreed to come on the show and talk to us about guitars and anything else that we'll discuss.
Yeah.
So,
Hello.
Martin, it's great having you on. How's the weather?
Super bad, super rainy,
Super bad.
and kind of cold, and no, a bad day for weather.
No, not good. Not good. I get it. I know I want to discuss guitars, but I have to ask, Montreal bagels are as they good as they say they are?
Yeah.
They're
I
good.
never taste a bagel from other city than Montreal, but they're supposed to be super great.
Yeah,
They
I've
are
heard.
great.
I've never had one.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah,
You should.
I would like to. I'll have to get there. That's great. So I noticed that you tend to it seems like, and correct me if could be wrong. It seems like you tend to go towards the gypsy jazz guitars for your work.
Yes, I'm mainly building and rebuilding gypsy guitars and archtop guitars too.
That's
But
great.
my main focus is around jazz guitar all over, like gypsy and archtop. But I'm doing a lot of gypsy. I'm renowned for my gypsy guitar work.
That's
What
fantastic.
what brought you to that? Like what brought you like to
Mainly, I was not able to get a gypsy guitar in the late '90s, so I just wanna have one. So they don't get that much here around. So I was kind of obsessed with that, so having one. So my only possibility was to build one. So
Yeah.
that wasn't my first guitar, but in my mind, I really wanted a gypsy guitar. So
Huh.
I built my home.
That's awesome. Was that like the style of music you were listening to and playing at the
Yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was I was studying jazz guitar in college,
Hmm.
and I was hooked by Django Reinhardt music and all those
Yeah.
things, you know, around more contemporary player too. But I was really hooked with
Yeah.
gypsy guitars in general.
Mm.
I can see why. As far as the sound, they're very unique sounding guitars.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Even
for sure.
inside of the genre, the two main guitars are pretty different sounding, right? The petite
Yeah,
and
different style, the cutaway, the hole, everything. It's kind of another kind of bizarre design, you know.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
Well,
It's a
you
weird
know,
guitar, so
so the Michael Dunn I have actually has that little tiny resonator in it, that little piece with the
yeah.
right, which is it's such an unusual design, and I believe that was Selmer that did it originally. Am I wrong about that? Where they have that
No,
little?
no, it was designed by Mario Macaferri,
Oh, right, right.
the kind of the head of the Selmer guitar company for like 1 or 2 years. So he had that in mind, a resonator. So Michael Dunn is doing his own take on the resonator. He's doing kind of crazy resonators.
Yeah,
Uh,
It's a
they were
crazy
starting to
guitar.
yeah,
they were
yeah, he's
built.
doing some crazy stuff, crazy looking. Yeah, yeah,
By the way, the name of the guitar is Mystery Pacific,
yeah,
which is a Django song.
yeah,
So he's keeping it real.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
Michael is
great.
doing that forever.
That's great. You know, I only, I mean, it's been a while now, but I started playing. I'm a jazz guitar player by trade. I went to school for jazz. I didn't finish, but I did. I attended Berkeley for jazz composition. So
Nobody graduates Berkeley anyway.
yeah,
So.
but for years nobody graduates Berkeley. That's true. But for years I was always gypsy adjacent with
Mhm.
my music, and I just never had like I never felt brave enough to jump in to learn that technique because there's a lot of very particular technique to playing jazz, gypsy jazz, I should say.
Yeah.
Right? There's weird downstrokes,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Those people are obsessed with downstrokes
they love downstrokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
and thick pick and super thick pick
Yeah.
downstrokes and
That's yeah. I'm guilty.
yeah, yeah, that kind of pick.
I'm not. I'm a
Yeah.
punk player. I
And,
can't. Well, I've got my degree in audio engineering,
Mhm.
but I've spent the last, however many years, I don't want to say, of my life playing mainly like punk and hardcore and stuff like that. But I always had a basis in jazz because I was head of jazz department and stuff in high school and college. Uh, but I kind of got away with it, or got away from it, and played punk, and toured around the world playing punk. So, so
There you go.
but I think it really it lends itself, especially with the downstrokes and stuff like that. Thinking about, think about like how the Ramones could
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all downstrokes, and
yeah. Joni Ramones is all about downstroke.
Well,
yeah,
I have a joke I
and
tell
right hand
yeah.
like proficiency is very
I
specific
have a joke I like to
to those
tell
genres.
that nobody gets, that everyone says, like, oh, heavy metal has the fastest guitar players in the world. Like, you haven't heard of Gypsy. You haven't heard a Gypsy jazz guitar player then,
No,
because
no,
they're relentless,
yeah, fast,
very
super
fast. So that it's an interest. So your origins were that you couldn't find a Gypsy guitar in the '90s, and by the
Yeah.
way, you couldn't find a Gypsy guitar down here then either.
No,
Like nowhere. They were nowhere to be found, as far as I know. And so, did you originally? You must have built other guitars first before you
yeah,
started
yeah,
building.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to college in luthier, in guitar making.
Yeah, I read that.
After not graduating my jazz school, and
Well, we won't tell anybody.
no, too late.
It's
So
it's out of the bag.
yeah, I went there and I did a few guitars before because we weren't allowed to do everything that we wanted first. We
Hmm.
had some basic things to do, like a non-cutaway guitars, blah blah blah. I did few guitars, and I ended making one Gypsy guitars. It
That's great.
was maybe my fifth guitar or sixth guitars, something like that, something around
Wow.
that. I don't remember.
So pretty fast.
Yeah,
That's crazy. And I recently watched a video of yours earlier today, where you were shaving the braces. It looked like for a Gypsy guitar, and it looks like
yeah,
you put on like just like a strip of wood, and then you just shave it down from there. Is that how it works?
yeah. Gluing some braces inside
Yeah,
the rib,
the
not the
rib.
rib, but
Yeah, I know what you
kind of.
mean.
Are you do Gypsy's guitars use like a ladder design, or are they using the X bracing like a
No,
Martin?
it's ladder design.
Yeah,
It's ladder
Okay.
brace.
yeah, it's ladder
Yeah,
brace.
we don't put hex brace in that kind of guitar. You're not. It's not as efficiency as the leather brace.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. And
Yeah, it's the way it's done.
Right,
so
yeah. I don't know a whole lot about Gypsy jazz guitars themselves. Like I I I think they sound amazing, and I'd love to have one, but it's great having you on because I don't know a whole lot about, especially like the interior. Like, what's the neck block like? What, like, how is the neck affixed to? Is it done like with a dovetail, or do people do like bolt-ons, or what's the normal for like?
But mainly, me, I'm mainly doing some reproduction. I'm
Mm.
really into reproduction. I'm not really making my own take on that kind of guitar.
Oh, okay.
I'm obsessed with vintage guitar, and I'm working with vintage guitars. So I'm kind of making new kind of
Like
vintage
new old
guitar.
stock. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it
that's
makes
awesome.
it makes
I'm really,
sense.
really,
But
really inspired by what I've seen in my restoration work. Like
okay.
when you take a guitar apart, you can like measure everything. You can weigh everything. You can touch, smell, whatever you want. You can see
Yeah.
everything from the interior. So I got a, I got a I'm really privileged. I got some privilege to have a guitar like all open in me. So I
That's
taking
fantastic.
Right.
information. I'm
Well, I
taking
was
all
actually
information.
asking that question, like, what does a normal gypsy jazz guitar look like as far as the neck block? What kind of how is the neck affixed to a gypsy jazz guitar
Uh,
comparatively? Is it the same as a regular dreadnought or something like that?
no, not always. Like Selmer's doing some dovetail,
Hmm.
like exactly like a Gibson or Martin,
Okay.
Hmm.
but the some like Busato,
Hmm.
those are flat. Uh, it's flat. The neck is flat like a violin.
So
Wow.
it slides right into the neck pocket.
Yeah, you got the neck block and clack the neck. It's glued right in
Oh, okay.
Huh.
the on the end grain. It looks
Right.
it can appear like weak, but it isn't.
Huh.
Right.
The
Because
Right.
first time
it
I saw
sounds
this,
weak.
I was kind of mystified by
Like that's
all
not right.
yeah, I was kind of nervous about that kind of joint. And I start emulating that kind of joint too on my guitars when I'm making a replica of Busato.
Hmm.
It's that kind of joint I'm using.
That's
That's cool.
fantastic.
That is so
That's
cool. I
fantastic.
I really wanted to know that part. I was so interested in that because I saw a couple of well, I mistook a picture that you had up where you were routing out the circles for the for the markers, for the fret markers, and it
Yes.
and I only saw part of the picture, so it looked like you were drilling into the 12th fret. And I know some people do that to fix like a twist in the neck or something like that, or sometimes uh, making the neck block more solid. They'll drill into the 12th fret, especially if it's a guitar that meets at the 12th fret, like a parlor or something like that. But they'll drill down like that, and then they'll drill across and put dowels in to make it a stronger neck joint.
Hmm.
But I was wrong. Anyway, so but I'm true like when people start guitar, we're very mystified by what you do. Um, and I think it's like when I was young, we took a guitar. Like if there was something wrong with it, didn't matter. We took it to a luthier. Um, do you think that people are getting better at doing this stuff themselves, or
Oh, and I still take my guitar to a luthier because I know better.
well, yeah,
Because a luthier knows things I don't know, like how glue works.
Yeah, but if people get better,
Yeah.
uh, uh, you know,
no,
I don't really know. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
because
I don't know.
they don't come to me, so
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, I guess.
So, Martin, I
so
wanted to,
I
so
don't see their work. But
yeah, yeah, it's probably better.
for sure,
I've seen their work. You don't want
You
to.
don't want to see it.
yeah, me too. But
So
I
I
still
wanted,
got a job because they got people that they don't know how to do. So,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny. So I
but
want, I wanted to, Martin, I wanted to ask you about like when I'm watching you pull apart one of these old Busatos. A lot of them look like they're in pretty rough shape, and it looks like you do an extensive restoration with these things. Like you completely pull the neck off. It looks like you remove the tops and kind of get everything back into original working order. And I assume that you're using new wood for that, but is the process that you just get it as close to the original as possible?
yes, I'm trying to reuse like things,
Mm.
like to reuse braces and thing like that. I'm trying to keep that as original as possible. But when I couldn't, I'm just replacing some pieces with kind of equivalency wood or
Oh, right, sure.
yeah. I'm trying to get
Equivalent, yeah.
yeah to get
Do
as close as possible to the original. But if I gotta change a piece of wood for the better of the guitar, I will
Sure.
do it.
Of
I
course.
will do it. I'm not struggling too much on saving things because sometimes it's super expensive and it's not worth all the
Right.
work.
Right.
So
Right.
me, I'm restoring guitars for the idea of it's gonna be playable, but not playable like professionally playable. It's my real goal, not to restore for a museum. Yes, that kind of quality, but always I
To
got
be
always in my
played.
mind that it must be professionally playable, not
I
playable.
love, I absolutely love that. I love that because I
A guitar
before,
dies if you don't play it. Like
well,
it's just you may
well,
as well just
Yeah, because in
shine it up, put it on a wall. You know.
in the vintage world, sometimes people are kind of shocked when they change some frets on the whole Les Paul and thing like that, and
Would you have to though? Like if the
yeah,
frets
yeah.
aren't there anymore.
To my position is yes, you have to change those things, but a real obsessed collector will keep the same frets like
mhm.
forever
True.
because the
I'm not a
original.
collector.
Yeah,
Neither
me
am I, but
neither.
that does make like so. When you do those, like especially if you're doing a refret, a lot of the
Mm.
frets back in the day were like short and wide, and now they're more tall. Are you doing a more like when you restore the guitar, are you bringing it up to newer specs? Like if you were, would you use the same fret wires then, or would you try to update the fret wire to something that's more current and playable?
Yeah. I'm putting some brand new frets from uh, from or area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm putting frets normally. What kind of the kind of frets that the owner wants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
That makes
whatever
perfect
they want.
sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm not. I'm putting some regular frets,
Of
really
course.
standard,
That
like
makes
Instead,
sense.
Martin replacement frets.
because they made them out of different metals sometimes back then, and
Yes, they were kind of in brass,
right,
maybe not brass, but it looks like brass.
Mm.
It's kind of weak. It's not good
we could,
frets
and
for it.
it wore out quickly too.
Yeah,
It's
and they got no dent inside.
Yeah.
All the dents are made by hand with a file and not
That's great.
super.
oh, I'm sure I can't imagine 'cause, like they started out as bone back way back,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
early Spanish guitars and stuff. Oh, and they would even tie it on there. You could see the old guitars. It's like, ugh. But no, I'd say that's really neat to hear a guitar, like, especially like trying to play some of the really historic guitars when they have the old frets on them. It's really hard because it's not making that break angle quite right, and you can't fret well with
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the
It's not playing well. It's not
yeah.
sounding well. It's not accurate. Like the tuning is not accurate with some of warp frets.
Well, I
And you
mean,
can't intonate it.
just looking at the condition of some of the guitars that you work on, I'm like, what the hell happened to this thing?
Yeah,
What
we
has
don't.
it gone through to get to this condition?
I don't know. I don't know, but you know, mainly gypsy guitars are not super well done guitars.
Mm.
That was before the Japanese got into the business, so they were really was the guitar making was really very artisanal.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Artisanal. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, and Selmer was top quality guitar.
Right.
But under that, Busato and Zimoro and Favino were kind of not the same level of uh, of of craftsmanship.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's it. Those were kind of the guitar for people, the people guitar,
The
you know?
people's guitar, the ones that
Yeah.
sat in everybody's living room.
Yes,
or
exactly.
or caravan.
Kind of. So they weren't super like today we kind of idealize those kind of guitars, but seriously, they weren't super good.
Right.
I'm making them probably better that they were never played before.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
They
That's
were
awesome
making
seeing
tons
people
of
put.
guitars in the workshop, and they don't care about, you know, it was very artisanal. So
I
Yeah,
mean,
so the bad condition, it's around because probably because of that they are not quite good, not quite as good as a good guitar like Selma.
so when you finally get these guitars, because I noticed you made a pick guard after the headstock of an old Bussato, had all
Yeah.
these fancy imprints on it, and when you get all these when you restore all these guitars in like professional playable condition, and you get all the pieces back together, and you've done the repairs. I have to imagine that the guitar sounds completely different than when you first heard it in its state of disrepair.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I can enjoy that because I'm a player too. So
Right.
I got the first take on the guitar, a freshly restored guitar. So
That's
I had
amazing.
yeah, I had played some crazy guitars that I can't afford, but and I can't keep. But
Sure.
I had
You
man.
get to play them though.
That
yeah,
must
yeah,
be
yeah,
the worst part, is not
played
being able to keep
on
them.
every guitars, and I got a lot of fun. But for sure, it's not. It's kind of it's making me super happy when a guitar sounds super great and
That's
better
great.
than before, and that's the goal. But sometimes the guitar sucks.
Yeah,
Sometimes it just sucks. It
believe me.
can be I can trafficate the guitar to get the better out of it, but sometimes the guitar is not just good. But I can
Believe me, I
a
know.
better guitar, but not the better guitar in the world, you know?
I've had more bad guitars than good ones.
Yeah.
A lot. A couple I wanted to throw into a fire, but I can't bring myself to it.
No, you can sell it. Sell
Yeah,
those and
yeah.
buy one
You know,
great guitar.
you know
Yes.
the thing I missed. This is just an aside, real quick. The thing I missed, because I've been in bands for years, and when I was in a band, I would go buy like what would now be a very expensive vintage instrument, right? And it didn't. It sounded like shit. A lot of them were Gibson, and I'm like, I can't use this on stage. I'm going to sound like an idiot. There's nothing here. So I sell it, and then I find out 15 years later that guitar, that Gibson that I sold for $900, is now worth like $7,500.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hold on to it because I'm not a collector. So yeah,
Yeah.
I got that going for me.
No, it's funny. Like one of the things that spurred me wanting to start, and I've actually really just started working on my guitars, because throughout my whole career, I've just been like, here, take it, fix it. I don't know what's wrong. You know? But I've got so many guitars now that I can't afford that.
You can't,
So
you can't afford what?
I can't afford to get them set up all the time. Like,
Oh,
and,
well,
and
yeah,
get them.
I can't. I can.
Well, it's
If
also,
if it's going on stage, it's going to the luthier.
well,
I mean, I have a rule. I have my guitars are always ready to go.
well, I also beat the crap out of my guitars, not on purpose, but I've played in punk bands. Like, I've gotten thrown off stage with my guitar in my hand to surf across the, you know.
I don't think that happens to a lot of gypsy guys.
Not, you never know.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows?
Back in the day.
So Martin, I'm just curious. Being over there in Montreal, do you ever get to hear some of the greats? Because being out here in Portland, I'll never meet guys like Josko Stefan or Borelli Lagreen or any of those guys, right? Because they'll never come here.
Yeah, they always come in Montreal.
I kind of figured.
I met everybody, almost everybody,
Incredible.
because mainly I was working with Danny Chang. I don't know if you know Danny Chang.
I was watching some videos early. I'm not aware of him, but he's amazing.
Yeah, but he's doing some instructional videos about gypsy guitars and how to play the rhythm, blah blah blah. And he's based in Montreal. He was based in Montreal like back then, and he just hired like everybody to came in Montreal and film them, make video. So and I met like Birelli Lagrène because of him. I did a guitar for Birelli Lagrène, and it was directly because of Danny Chang.
Amazing.
Birelli and everything. I met tons of people because of him.
That's great.
Just pay them and bring them at his house, film them, and spread it all over the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very.
I've met tons of people, and we have the chance to see many super nice player here. Yes.
That's great. That's great. I mean, I've been
a great jazz festival too.
Nice.
They bring often. They bring those kind of player too. The jazz festival is great in Montreal.
Yeah, the Montreal Jazz Festival's really big, right?
Yeah.
Montreal is closer to Paris than Portland. So I think maybe people just never come out here.
No.
Well, it's too far. It's too far.
Well, it's usually raining, and they're just like, nah.
It does rain a lot here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. So, I had one more question. I can't remember it right now, but it's awesome to get to like music is so great about being able to meet people and getting. Have you gotten to go out to France and meet any builders out there?
Yes. Yeah, I just went once in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I delivered a guitar personally to Birelli Lagrène. So that was my first goal to go in. To go in France to meet him.
That's I don't even have words for that. He's royalty.
Yeah, man. He's super kind. He's super cool.
That's amazing.
I've been to France once. I've been to France twice, and it's always been awesome. The first time was a little dicey, but I was always on tour, so
yeah.
The venues look the same no matter where you're at, but
yes. But I went to the François Charles. You know François Charles. He makes a book about Selmer. I met him at his shop at Galerie Doda. It was nice, but yes, I met few luthiers, but I wasn't into that. I was more into like going out and
of course.
See
Yeah.
things and meet some people other than luthier and
why sit in a workshop when you could be seeing some amazing music being played?
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
That was. I'm not super excited about workshop, you know.
I sit one all day, kind of thing.
So I don't know if you guys know this story, but do you know John Jorgensen from London? Yeah. Okay, so John Jorgensen is. Oh, you met him?
Yeah, I met him. I played with him on.
Fuck me, man.
Yeah, he was turning a scene in Montreal. He was kind of impersonating.
Yeah, I got you. So anyway, I heard a great story from John Jorgensen that he was saying that there's a chord that the Gypsies use that's called a Goretti chord, which is based on George Harrison going down to Richard Gretty's a music shop in London where Richard Gretty was teaching jazz guitar, and he would always go up to him and bother him and say, "Show me a Goretti chord," and he was saying his name wrong, and somehow this is now in the gypsy jazz world, but not in the rock world. So there's this chord. I think it's like a weird flat 2-6-9 chord. That's called the Goretti chord. That's because of George Harrison talking to a jazz instructor in England in the 60s that somehow got into the gypsy jazz world. Because I hear guys like Stakelo Rosenberg and Joshko Stefan every once in a while. You'll hear him mumble Goretti chord.
Oh yeah, great.
I think it's great. And I feel like a lot of the gypsy jazz guys still have the oral tradition, right? Like there's a repertoire. They all know how to play Swing 42, right? They all know how to play Coquette. Like there's just jazz. The gypsies always have the same standards, and it's so amazing to see a bunch of them get together and basically just rip each other to pieces on who can play it better.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a very small community of players here. I haven't met anybody yet. I want to try because they meet up at a coffee shop right by me, and they do shows there like once a month or something. So I've been meaning to go down there and check that out, but like there's so much I live in Austin, Texas. There's music everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of the music town.
I heard that Austin is a great place for music.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Every place that you go. And people
there's a lot of good
go out to
musicians
see-
there, for sure.
They actually go out to see people play here, which is
That's important. That's nice.
I've lived all over the United States, and people don't go to local shows a lot, but in Austin they do, which is really kind of nice.
Oh yeah.
So do you? Martin. I apologize for not doing enough research for the interview. I was looking at your website. Do you build a grande bouche and an amuse bouche, right? You build a petite bouche, not an amuse. That's food. But right, so you build the petite bouche and the grande bouche guitars. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
And I'm making my version of the chorus with the F-holes.
I
Gypsy
saw
guitars
that,
with
the
with
Parisian.
F-holes.
Yeah, that's a crazy guitar. What was that used for? Was it just
Same-
just
same
one of the
thing.
same thing?
It was just
Same
another-
thing.
It's a
another
very
style.
unusual appearance. Like
Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's
yeah, like
super
the
weird,
F
weird
holes up near
design.
the shoulder. It's very strange.
Yeah. A weird place for F-holes, but it
That's
works
great.
with that guitar. It works and sounds nice.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing.
It's
That's
a little bit more boomy.
huh.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of a boomy-ish guitar, and I like that.
I like the way that when you play backing chords on a grande bouche, how it kind of fills in the sonic space, right? Like I think the chords bloom a little bit more versus the petite bouche, which is to me it seems like it's more of a lead instrument because it's
Yeah,
really
for sure.
it's focused, right? And
It's more screamy, kind of.
yeah, that's a good. Yes, I guess it is. I guess it is screamy. Well, that's fun. So, would you say that do you think there's been a revival of interest in gypsy guitar playing recently? Or has it remained steady?
Since the 2000, yes, for sure. Since the
Yeah.
2000, yes, because before that I wasn't able to buy one.
Mm.
I wasn't able to find information about guitars. Just to have the access of the music,
Even
to
being
have
able to
get
hear
a
it.
CD, get a CD of Angelo Debar in 2000.
Oh, right. I
Stuff
forgot about him.
that cost like $50, and
Right,
took like
right.
5 weeks to get, and
Believe it or not, I had a very parallel experience to you. I was, like I said before, I was not brave enough to start trying to play gypsy jazz guitar, I want to say until about maybe 10, 11 years ago. And So I'm friends with the guy that runs Django Books, Mike Horowitz. I don't know if you know him,
Mm-hmm.
in Seattle. And so I bought the Michael Dunn, and I bought one of his technique books, and ended up at the chiropractor's office trying to play gypsy jazz because it jacked up my shoulders so hard.
Yeah.
Because those guys aren't fucking around with technique, man.
No.
Yeah. It's crazy technique.
They spend all day on the technique.
Yeah, and all about questioning themselves about it. Is it a downstroke, an upstroke?
Downstrokes,
Downstroke.
yeah.
No, it's super complicated.
It's insane, right? And then you have the different La Pompe, right? The pumps.
Yes.
Like you have like the Parisian La Pompe, which I think is mostly dry. I think it's mostly downstrokes, and then you have the Dutch one, which has upstrokes into it. And these guys know the difference in all of them.
Yeah.
They're like professional hockey players.
Yeah. It's kind of it's a folklore. It's folklore.
It's so fun. It's so fun to watch when you see one of these, and if you've seen Borelli Lagreen, you've seen everything, because he's like the guy's royalty, and just being in a room with him, hearing him play guitar must be a very awe-inspiring experience.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
That guy knows his way around a fretboard as maybe better than anyone. Well, I can't say that because you've got Stakella, you've got Joshko, you've got a lot of them. They're all monsters. They're all very good.
But Birelli can play anything.
Yes.
He can play anything, and he's kind of his background is incredible.
Yes.
He was in the band with Jaco Pastorius, and
that's crazy. That's insane.
Everything is insane about Birelli Lagreen. His playing, his life.
I think his first record was he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Django 15 or something like that.
Yeah, he was doing super great. Like that was before everybody. That was before Jimmy Rosenberg. Jimmy Rosenberg was super special too when he was kid.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible player, and it's incredible that guy wanted to play on my guitar. So
yeah, and that was crazy. You built a guitar for him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's got to look good to hang up on the shingle.
Yeah.
for the business.
Yeah.
Borelli Lagreen plays one of my guitars, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So I'm done with that. I mean, I was kind of what can I do? What can I do after that?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Where do you go next?
I don't know. I'm kind of lost.
That's great. So where are you sourcing all these old guitars from? Where are you getting them?
Mostly it's my customer. Those are not mine.
Oh, I see. So they bring them in.
Yeah. They ship the guitar,
Hmm.
and I ship it back, but in good condition.
But better.
But I'm working a lot with collectors all around the world, but mainly in US and in Canada too. But I'm buying guitars too when I can.
Sure.
But everybody, because of Facebook and Instagram, I make some friends kind of all around the world, and a lot of French too. So I'm speaking French, so it's easy to me to get in contact with a guy who found a guitar and contact me like on Instagram. Hey, I got this guitar, and I bought some guitar because of that. People are proposing some guitar to me, and some are just want to sell it to me. I'm buying few guitars.
That's great. That's great.
I facilitate sales to other people.
Yeah, but mainly in France for sure.
For sure.
I'm looking on, on the classified. They were, and I know people there, so they can buy it for me, ship it to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
but
I have a
it's
couple of
not
guitars
my.
over in Europe. So,
It's not mainly what I'm doing. I'm not. I'm doing this a little bit, but mainly it's guitar from other people. They got in their collection. They send it back. Then they send it to me. I restore it and send it back.
That's a niche. That's a niche kind of place to be in the guitar world. You know, I know there are a lot of because all of like not all of my guitars, but most of my guitars are hand built from an individual luthier, right? But I do not have a restored guitar. I only have not. I mean, my guitars are all less than 30 years old,
Hmm.
right? And if I mean, it would be that to me the next logical step would be to find a really old guitar that sounds great, but maybe needs some love, and then get it fixed up.
Yeah, but it's kind of a with cars too. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just kind of a. It's a. It's a kind of a hole. You're putting money, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe
That's
you're
true.
not gonna see that money again. You
No,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
old
The Martin behind
guitars.
me needs this needs a new bridge eventually, fairly soon actually. It needs a new bridge,
Well, the
and
top's not pulling. That's good.
no, the top's not pulling or bulging or anything, but it's an 84, so it doesn't have an adjustable net.
Yeah,
Doesn't have
no
an
truss
adjustable
rod.
no truss rod.
Yeah, yeah, you
I
probably need a neck reset or something like that.
There's going to
well,
be
I
a
can't
neck
But
imagine.
you
You know,
reset
know,
involved, but
old
it
guitars
plays and
are.
sound great now. But it's a 40-year-old guitar. It needs some love.
Yeah, yeah, but old guitars need some repairs and they need to be like in good condition to not get problem with that with them and they need special cares.
And they
sure.
need to be played
Honesty
too.
and old guitars are problems, but kind of cool problem too,
Yeah,
because you got a piece of history after, but for sure you must put some money in that for
Hmm.
sure.
yeah. Like I think when I first started playing guitar, I really didn't even know how to take care of it. We
Hmm.
did like and I don't think a lot of people do anyway by looking at guitars. Like people don't know how to take care of them or regular maintenance. So if someone buys a classic guitar and doesn't really know what the maintenance is,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's just destroyed. It can die fairly quickly.
You know, it's
yes,
funny so I used to live in Bend, Oregon, and I lived on the west side of town, where a lot of the houses were older, and we all had like wood-fired
yeah,
heat, and those will murder a guitar.
Yeah.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
wood-fired heat will dry out a guitar fucking faster than anything in the world,
Yeah,
right? And I had two guitars delaminate. I had braces like just
Fall
basically
off.
fall off because it was so
yeah,
goddamn fucking dry in the house.
Ugh.
So there's that, right? And so yeah, the older guitars get an old car is a good metaphor for an old guitar because eventually it could be you're just sinking more money in than you're getting out.
Yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. But guitars, the last couple of years, old guitars kind of skyrocketing in the price. But
Yeah.
maybe it's better than a car for sure.
I think
But
you're more likely to get your money back from a
yeah,
guitar than
yeah,
you are
but
from a
I
car.
don't think that guitars is investment, but sometimes it could
Right.
when you're lucky. When you're
Yeah, you've
lucky.
got to be pretty lucky. I know I like that might be a vintage Martin. It's an 84, but it's not worth any more than a new D28.
Probably not.
No, I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm
It's
surprised.
about the guitar for
Like
me.
it
Anyway,
was
it's
a
about
long. I
playing.
think it was a long time ago. I want to say it was in the late '90s where Japanese collectors were just picking up everything they could find, right?
Hmm.
And guitar prices were for vintage, whatever that meant back then. Like guitars from the '50s and '60s that were hovering around between $500 and $900 went up to $2,000 to $7,000
Hmm.
only because of the collector's market. So players for a lot of years have been priced out of vintage instruments.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
for sure, and they don't want it. They don't want it too.
yeah,
They
it. Yeah.
They wanted something like new, something like more playable.
Well, yeah, and like and like with Tom's story is like if you're on the road a lot, you're gonna abuse your instrument. Like it just
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. You can't go on the road with something super fragile, you
I'm
know?
not I'm not
No.
I'm not bringing my 1939 Super 400 on stage with me.
No, no,
I don't
no.
even like. I never play that Martin on stage. I have an Alvarez that I like. I normally play Alvarez's on
Yeah,
stage for
exactly.
acoustic, and then I got my Les Paul and a Gretsch that I play for other things. I've got too many guitars. I I've got
Mhm.
13, I think, including basses. I've got 13,
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is I mean probably too many, but I like that. They all have their
I got too many too.
That's great.
like.
So Martin, I have to tell I have a lot of I have a few friends here in are you familiar with John Grevin, the builder?
No,
Oh,
no,
anyway,
no.
it's not important. John Grevin is a luthier in Portland, and he barely plays guitar. Like yeah, I've met several. I have friends that are luthiers, and most of them are not. Like I would say they're not high level guitar players. But they sure know how to put an instrument together. So it's pretty unique. If you play, which you do, I've seen it. It's I don't think there are a lot of luthiers that spend as much time devoting to the music side of it as the luthier side of it.
There are few,
I
but
haven't.
we are not the norm.
Yeah, I think you're not. There are a few. I agree, but I think I agree that that's not the norm, because
Yeah,
they're
but
two different skill sets.
to me, it's like a cook. You need to eat after for what you can do or not.
Sure.
Evaluate your work, and for
Right.
sure after I did the guitar is done. I must play it for couples of
You got to break it in.
yeah,
Yeah.
couple of minutes or hours.
A week, a month.
No, I must to me to evaluate my work, and so yeah, for me it's better for sure.
That's
You must
amazing.
Do you,
to my eye, you must have to play. Not a super
That's
good level,
fantastic.
but no,
That's great.
it's
That's
kind of bizarre.
fantastic.
It's weird. It's weird. A luthier that's not playing guitar, to me,
yeah,
it's weird.
That's
I don't
great.
But
get it. I
That's
want to
great.
play. I want to play the guitar all the time, like pretty much 100% of the time. But yeah, I do find that weird that a lot of luthiers that I've met don't play as much. Like but I agree with you. I think you'd want to taste it, you know?
yeah, for
Do
sure.
you
Every
do you ever
batch.
end up do you ever end up because like I feel like a lot of the guitars that I've gotten, I've bought because I thought a particular song sounded really, really good on it, and I wanted that guitar specifically for that song half the time. But so I usually end up recording it and using that guitar to for that song. Like I've got a parlor guitar. Just I bought it originally just for a single song. And I
Mhm.
kept it because I don't know. It just for some reason it's
I don't think that's
the perfect
uncommon.
room guitar. But
I don't
the
think that's
question is
uncommon.
really, uh,
Sorry, I'm interrupting, but go ahead.
the question is really like when since you get to play all these amazing instruments, do you ever get one and be like, well, this needs to be documented, the sound at least, and record that guitar?
I tried few times, but I've seen too much guitar, and I can't do this for every single guitar that I got in my hands. So it's not my work to do that. It could be super interesting for sure. It's super interesting. I tried to do that like a few years ago, but I just let it kind of.
There's
I
too many
passed to
guitars.
another call after that. I don't know why, but
And
yes, it could be super interesting to
it
get.
it sounds like a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's absolutely a lot of work.
you've seen what I've done. What I am not super.
Yeah,
I'm not super like comfortable with my only with my phone to get the
the
microphone
sound.
on. So I'm not really into that kind of technology, so it's kind of hard to me. It's not natural to me, so I don't do that. But I tried, but it's super interesting
It
to
just
see
seems neat that
every
like so
kind of
many.
instrument, how it sounds, its sonor particularities, and it's super interesting.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I'm too lazy.
yeah, you got too much stuff going on for that.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
That's
I,
great.
I, I feel like like after a couple of guitars and then one came in that I really loved, I wouldn't, I'd be done and like, yeah, call me later. I'll be playing the guitar back there.
Yeah.
So, Martin, another question I have for you is, in all of these things that you do, all of the reconstructions, has there ever been one guitar that you're just like, okay, this is better than the rest? Has that happened?
Not really, I'm trying to be super constant with my build.
Hmm.
With my build or with restoring guitars,
Right.
you
Yeah,
I think he was
I
asking
guess I'm coming
restore.
at more from a player perspective. But yeah, as a builder, I could understand that you would, yeah, I get that. You would want them all to come out on the other end sounding as good as
Yeah, but
possible.
for sure, some are a little bit more like,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
of course, yeah.
Sometimes you come across a guitar that you built or restore that it's really kind of okay. That one is
That's the
just
one.
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, it's just
Like
too exciting.
the little plus you get. I don't know how to describe it, but
That's
for
great.
sure,
Yeah,
some
no,
are
yeah,
better than others. I'm trying me as a builder to get in my standard every time,
yeah.
but for sure sometimes it's a little bit better.
Eh, maybe it's the
But
wood. Who knows?
Yeah,
I
well,
try to not get under. It's always that.
of course not.
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah, but for sure the woods and influence the build and everything. Sometimes you came across a piece that that it will sound super great.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I love that.
I had some wood. I was only touching the wood, scratching it, and it was sounding super nice. And for sure, the
You
guitar
could
was sounding.
just from the wood you could tell.
Yeah, sometimes yes, for sure.
That's amazing. That's great. Yeah, and is it hard sourcing the wood?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
You get
yeah,
sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you can buy wood on locally, and sometimes I'm
yeah.
trying to source my wood from every kind of way I can across. I'm always buying wood.
Of course.
So sometimes it's not good, but sometimes it's good. It's
Hmm.
always a gift, you know.
Yeah,
And when you're buying I'm buying kind of a big pieces. So when
I
you
saw one where you highlighted the grain.
yeah. So but before you open that piece, you don't know what you
You don't
get,
know.
what
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
really get.
that's what I
So you
thought.
have to pay before, bring it back to home, bring it back home,
Oh
and
my
after
God.
you split
It's
it.
just
And I spent some good money on some wood that was totally crap.
Oh,
Yeah.
frustrating.
Recently, I bought a batch of mahogany and was just crap.
Oh
uh,
no. Oh,
But that's always kind of a gamble. But for sure, when you pay some good money in a reputed like wood seller,
yeah,
you
good,
get
good.
what you get for your money.
that's great.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, kind of
Yeah,
Yeah,
thing.
that's
exactly.
great.
But it's some good money.
Oh yeah, yeah. Are there
But
any
sometimes
pieces
you
that
can have
you?
some great deal
Yeah,
out of a store from here and have some great wood for half of the price.
Hmm.
yeah.
But it's always a gamble.
Yeah,
Do
So
you
I
I'm
can
always
see
do you
that.
ready.
ever do you ever save pieces for like you're like this is a great piece, it's going in a great guitar, I'm going to save it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna sell it like for more dollars. That's it.
Can you do us a favor and send us those pieces?
Yeah. In the guitar shape or not?
Oh, yeah,
In
of
a
course,
guitar shape,
Yeah.
preferably in the
Not the
guitar
same
shape.
price.
The price might go up if it's guitar shaped.
Yeah. Exactly. It's my
Because
concept.
we'd probably just destroy it.
I don't know.
Sadly.
I don't know what I'm
know?
going to do with a piece of wood. I'm not building a guitar with it.
Like,
I don't have the skills.
well, I bought this for $10 the other day, and it's got this. Oh, I can't see if you could. Yeah, it's got this huge crack in it.
That does not look good, Tom.
No, but it was
Yeah,
$10,
but it's fixable. It's fixable.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, for
So,
10
like,
bucks.
It's
$10.
yeah, $10. And I really think it's just going to be glue and clamp. Everything else is
That looks a little bit more serious than glue and clamp to me, but I'm not a luthier.
No, it looks like
I'm
that.
gonna try.
Glue and clamp.
Glue and clamp. All right, you've got the word from Martin, Tom. There you go.
Glue and clamp.
Martin has said glue and clamp. All right, man. This has been great.
Yeah, it was great having you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey,
you should probably not
Thanks
waste
a lot
too
for
much
the
of your time.
invitation. Thanks a lot for your interest about my work.
Of course.
I'm really happy to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be. My next guitar is definitely going to be a handmade guitar. So
Yeah, you should. You should.
I'm
Oh,
not.
and maybe this guy.
Yeah, that's yeah. Because like I have a lot of. Well, I've got a lot of odd things I want, so we'll see how that
goes. Well,
But,
Martin,
we can discuss that at a later date.
we'll discuss it later. It's been great having you on, Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to come on again, just send us a message. We'll have you on anytime.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right.
Thanks to you guys.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care.